but he was still a little bit hesitant to walk too far forward. In that rollout, you heard how often High was saying, like, Sivir, 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 just to zone them out. They didn't really kill Piglet a lot in those fights, but they were still zoning him out and applying pressure while killing the other members, so he couldn't do a lot.
Well, we have entered picks and bans for game number 2.
Yep, same sides, of course.
And so far, bans are identical. Nidalee Gangplank to match. Next one would be Rek'Sai if it were to follow the pattern. And Karma and Twitch are the exact same for Team Liquid Academy as well. So same bans from Cloud9.
Yep.
And Team Liquid Academy, they're going to change up their final ban, leaving Graves open, but banning away that Malzahar.
So the Graves for contracts would be the only change possible here. Moon plays it as well, though, but I know that it's a very good champion for contracts when he wants to carry. Very versatile jungle player, very young too. Wasn't able to play in the LCS or even play in the Challenger Series playoffs last split.
Yep.
And he got picked up by Cloud9.
Very talented. Also former teammates. A few of the members on Team Liquid Academy.
Solo, Golden Glue, and Stun. Yep, they were all on Ember together. It is going to be the Shen first pick again, though, which I assumed as much because it looked like something they weren't able to deal with, but I like this answer of the Gnar.
Yeah, Shen locked in. Looks like Piglet is returning to that Sivir, but as you said, Gnar locked in for Solo, not going back to that Rumble.
Yeah, Solo actually plays a lot of Gnar. He was one of the people playing it just all of the time. I remember back when he was the Solo King as his name, and he played in the qualifiers for the expansion tournament back when like Gravity made it in, right? So he's been playing this champion for a very long time, and he's proficient on it. So we'll see if Cloud9 Challenger end up lane swapping away again, even if they have a favorable bot lane matchup, but they don't want to stack their top.
Yeah, well, so far they don't have to adjust too much. Braum picked up again for Elimination, but High going to be taking Vladimir in the mid lane this time.
Yeah, I want to see what he's able to do with this champion because High seems to perform best, and Cloud9 Challenger as a whole perform best when they have engaged potential from their mid laner. When High is able to use something like a Kennen ultimate to stun people and allow his team to catch up. Because as the shot caller, he almost always seems to be the first person into the fray. And if he's able to slow people down, stop them from moving forward and getting away, then the rest of his team catches up and gets on the same page as him.
Well, Team Liquid Academy are now looking to put a damper onto High's ability to leap into their team. They've got AD carry and top lane picked up so far, but decide to opt for mid lane and support now as Cassiopeia is locked in for Golden Glue. And Soraka was hovered in the previous match, but now locked in this time for stun.
Yeah, and the Cassiopeia for Golden Glue, champion that he performed incredibly well on again in the semifinals. And it allowed them to get here from a late game performance. And that was really the dominating game from TLA, was that third game where he had the Cassiopeia. We'll see what he's able to do up against High. I think it's a good answer here to have. But then the Soraka alongside the Sivir, a little bit of a safer laning phase here. You can wave clear and just have that HP battery. But this allows Altec to play pretty much anything he wants. He could go for the
to that similar strategy and look to lane swap it once again. Elimination might just try to hop back in and go for a similar play, but this is getting into game number 2 between Cloud9 Challenger and Team Liquid Academy. Both teams making some adaptations to change things up.
Yep, they've been shifting only what they had to shift or what didn't work last time. The Malzahar ban, I really like it. The Shen first pick is to be expected on that from that point. But then the question afterwards is like, does solo play Shen? How good is he at this champion? Because you can end up dropping the Karma ban for anything else and then just trade Shen and Karma for whichever one you want. Because Cloud9 showed they'll first pick Karma, but you might be able to get Shen as an answer.
Yeah, well, we want to know who you think is going to take this series. Keep your predictions updated over on Twitter. Send either hashtag C9CWin or hashtag TLAWin to @LOL Esports as the teams load onto the Rift. So far, Cloud9 Challenger are 2 games away, 2 wins away from taking their first Cloud9 Challenger Series split finals and getting the higher seed in that promotion tournament, whereas Team Liquid Academy, they're going to have to run it back and bring us to at least a game 4.
Yeah, and the thing here is you have to be able to shake off that previous game. Looks like Golden Glue on the Cassiopeia has Flash and Ignite, so no Ghost for him. And this is mostly just to cut the healing that Vladimir's going to have. So Golden Glue will be looking for a solo kill at some point during the laning phase. And I assume later on as well, just trying to be able to blow him up.
Yeah, and there is a lot of pressure on a Golden Glue in the mid lane. Going up against Hai, who's been showing that he has still got it, even after departing from the full Cloud9 roster. He's still playing like a monster.
Yeah, and you think about what ended up happening with Cloud9 is when they performed internationally and they kept making Worlds and they only made it so far, the organization was like, well, we want to make it even further than that. We want to rebuild it. Hai stepped down for a bit, ended up becoming the support player, but the whole criticism was, how good is his champion pool, right? Because he was like Zed and stuff like that, and it wasn't as diverse. Or how good is he mechanically, especially since he was having some wrist issues at the time, right? So now that he's had to play support for a bit, he's been able to become more acclimated to his current situation, and he just seems to be on top of picking up new champions. He's adapted well to the meta, and it just seems like he'll play things and even explore more, like the old Cloud9 when they were finding success when they first came onto the scene. Things like Ashe Zyra.
The Summer Split 2013 Cloud9. The Cloud9 of old. Unfortunately, Cloud9 Challenger will not be able to recreate that incredible 13-game winning streak. And in fact, just had that win streak broken this past weekend by TSM. So Cloud9 Challenger, if they make it into the promotion tournament, and LCS might get an opportunity to run it back.
Yeah, it's a possibility here. Question is what happens to the org then, but
yeah,
it's a question that'll be answered if it happens.
If and when the time comes for it. Now taking a look at the wards on the map, seems like we've got some pretty standard lines set up. Piglet and Stunt staying on that bottom side, but Lemonation and Altec are down in the jungle bush.
Yep, and it looks like they're just waiting for the other to invade here. So that ward, actually, I don't see a timer on it, so I don't know. The health bar from the Gromp is also missing, so not quite sure how low it was getting, or... Oh,
yeah, so it's just minion health bars are turned off.
Yeah, everything's turned. There we
go. There
they
go. Whew. Good fix, guys.
Yeah, I didn't know how long the ward was going to last. I was like, was it expiring in that moment?
Did they see it? Oh, God.
Nope. Oh, that's bad.
The world may never know. Stunt, ooh, eating some damage early on.
And so even though Shen doesn't have the most favorable matchups against the Gnar early on, as soon as he gets 1 or 2 items, I mean, even components, he's actually okay. You can play really safe in this matchup and be fine. But this is just such a dominant bottom lane. You have a range superiority with the Ashe by 100, and then you just have a Braum that Soraka can't really do anything against, because Braum will still apply his passive with his auto attacks. So even if you silence him, it doesn't really work out in your favor very often.
Moon, oh, needs one more. There he goes, red buff, confidence. He's got level 3 and he's on this bottom side very early. Yeah, might look to upset it.
Yep, red Raptors and then blue for his starts, who doesn't have any smite that's going to help him clear the jungle like a Gromp or a Krug, but it's still one of Hecarim's better clear routes. A lot of the times you'll end up out of mana very early on still. So, ends up picking it up.
Very small health pool for that champion because of not only spamming spells, but also small health pool. Golden Glue, oh, gets a great trade onto Hai.
Oh, yeah. Man, we call them trades. Sometimes they're just flat bullying.
Yeah.
Get him out of lane. Get out of my lane, boy. Golden Glue pushing him all the way up, trying to get some pressure advantage in the mid lane. And that's the big thing here is what can TLA do with this matchup that they counterpick with the Ignite on Golden Glue? Will they be able to actually leverage this? And a decent amount of that will be on Moon to try and get to this lane and affect it before Contracts does. Because Contracts, he's been on top of his game.
They do speed Contracts out with a ward. Piglet, ooh, Spell Shield's very early. And Lemonation is able to get some damage down, but so far the lanes have balanced out a bit after that early aggression from C9C, and Team Liquid Academy now pressuring in the bottom lane and that top side of the map.
Yeah, this is a nice little bounce back here from TLA. They're going to get damage off, and this damage will stick, whereas Stunt, you saw the damage they were taking early. The guy has Ancient Coin, though.
Yeah.
So he's slowly sustaining up, and that's all it was a matter of time before he came back to a healthy state, continued to heal Piglet, and now, even though it's not a very good matchup for them, they make it a good one because of the fact that they can just have this damage stick. Every time you hit the Braum or the Ashe, they're not going to be able to do much about it. It does look like there is a Warlord's Bloodlust for the Ashe, though. So Altec, he can heal up a bit, but Elimination will slowly get whittled down, and then you lose pressure.
Yeah, still got 2 health potions, though, so plenty of time before that happens, as now Contracts invading in the jungle of Moon. Moon actually only just now completing his first recall. Most of that jungle has been cleared away, so Contracts is only able to steal away this Krugs, which means that the pressure is now up to Moon to make something happen. He's actually pinging to invade into Contracts jungle on the opposite side of the map.
Yeah, mostly it's because High backed just now, so High's going to come back with an item advantage. So if they do end up fighting here, it'll be a little bit strange because Cassiopeia does need to back and even it out. Go for an early tier and start working towards that. The longer you delay it, the worse it is.
Yeah, seems like Contracts is well aware that this is what Hecarim wants to do. Spots him out, smite available for both, but Contracts is the one who secures it with his own smite.
Yeah, pretty risky there from Moon to continue to stay. And so Contracts gets the smite, and I mean, he got 3 little ones, so it's okay, but bulk of the experience to Contracts. Yeah, well, I guess a little bit more. We made the smaller ones count for a decent size bit of the experience.
Meanwhile, in this top lane, it has been effectively an island. Solo and Balls trading back and forth, keeping even in minions.
Yeah, Balls is playing these matchups really well on the Shen. Shen doesn't typically do too well against a lot of these champions early, and has to use the Spirit's Refuge at great timing and actually go in for trades when he has the shield up. But it seems like he's surviving the laning phase, not just surviving, but actually thriving with his CS.
Oh, Moon's going to clear out this ward before picking up that Raptor camp.
They spotted him. But yep.
Oh,
I
Solo's
said
level 6 right now.
Surviving.
Oh, Hemoplague in the mid lane. Golden Glue drops the Ignite on the High. He's burning down Stand United. Oh, misses the Petrifying Gaze.
Yeah, it looked like High turned around right there. I still think he got tagged by it slightly. I mean, I'll look back at it again, but it does look like he got the damage. But the Stand United from Balls definitely helping out, but that's going to delay Balls even further because now he has to back again and then go back up.
But now that's going to be both Summoner spells for High and the Stand United from Balls, whereas Golden Glue only burned his Ignite and that Petrifying Gaze. So Golden Glue feeling pretty strong right now in that mid lane as Piglet continues to trade down with that duo of Altec and Lemonation, trying to keep pace in CS.
Yeah, Petrifying Gaze did hit High, but he has Storm Raider Surge and went off, so it wasn't as slow.
So it hit him from behind.
Yeah, so it would have slowed, and the slow would have been less effective because of the mastery.
Interesting.
Yeah, as I was like, I'm not sure because I saw him run real quick. So
Gotta
that
go
turns out
fast.
to be the interaction there, and Ricky Bobbied his way right out.
Gotta go fast. Shake and bake.
It's one of my favorite movies. Because I relate to the part where he doesn't know what to do with his hands on camera.
What do I do with my hands?
That part speaks to me.
What do I do with my hands?
You can just keep them by your sides.
Like this?
Slowly start creeping back in, but still creeping back in slowly would be high in this mid lane, trying to get as much CS as possible. Golden Glue is going to have about a 20 CS advantage over him after he picks up that wave. And Golden Glue is actually the CS differential at 10 leader in the league.
Ooh, that's awkward. Moon just walks into contracts in the jungle. Sorry, the door was open. Ooh, and he's going to get that pink ward cleared out as well. So Moon, a level down. Still going for the aggressive invade with the early boots, but is spotted out by Cloud9 and scared away by High collapsing as well.
Yeah, Hecarim doesn't thrive too much in the early game as a jungler unless he's ganking really heavily. His clear time, a little bit lower, really high mana costs on his Q now, especially when you're spamming it out constantly. So it's no wonder he's down a bit. But that's going to be an Infernal Drake going over. It looked like Contracts tried to aggro it with his smoke screen, but Golden Glue had the mid lane superiority and roamed down, and that's the question I was asking earlier is, can Golden Glue transition the lead that he'll have in mid lane to the sides? And the answer looks like a little bit so far, yes.
Yeah, very fast Infernal Drake for Team Liquid Academy, using that early vision and knowledge of where Contracts was, not to mention the pressure of Piglet in that bottom lane. He's been shoving in wave after wave, and Altec has been catching it, only just now getting his first recall. Stunt though, trying to deny elimination.
Yeah, trying to stop throwing out the Q to actually tag Piglet.
Oh, yeah, elimination doesn't toss out the final Winter's Bite. Meanwhile, in the top lane, because those two junglers have been on an island for a majority of this game, Solo has eked out a pretty large advantage for himself, and it has just pulled the teleport from Balls. Yeah,
Balls does have to stand united though, so he'll be able to join if anything does happen, but he may get the teleport out of Solo, and if you're able to get the TP out of the other guy, then 100% you start looking for a play where you can stand united over there. But it looks like he's just going to walk back. It's a smart move from Solo. It's one of the ways that Shen survives matchups is he's free to use his TP most of the time.
Yeah, now with the Ninja Tabby completed, that's going to help reduce some of the initial damage in that Mini-Gnar form.
It's like they were made for him, tanky ninja shoes. It makes no sense, but it makes all the sense on Shen.
Ninja Tabby. Does make all the sense. So why is it that... Alright, never mind. We're not going there. 11 minutes in. And we've got a minor advantage for Team Liquid Academy.
Yeah, we've seen this happen from Cloud9 Challenger before, though. They start getting things together during that mid-game. And we were talking about how High has been doing really well, but this is a game that's kind of reflecting one of the reasons that he wasn't performing near the end of his career on Cloud9 as a mid laner. Just the way that he's not keeping up in lane, even in disadvantageous matchups. Still, it's a lot of CS. We saw him get chunked out very early on, slight mispositioning, and then having to blow both summoners. He's lucky that it wasn't capitalized on again from TLA because he didn't have any mobility, whereas Golden Glue still had his flash.
Yeah, that's a 32 CS lead in that mid lane right now.
And it's on a Cassiopeia as well. So that's just even scarier because she's going to get very powerful. He has Morello's in the works. Nice dodge there from Piglet with the sidestep. Yeah, elimination off on the side. That is not blocking the Boomerang Blade. A little awkward.
Ooh, good chunk onto Altec. Elimination in the front. Ooh, it's a lot of damage. There's another bounce. They're really low health.
That's sick. Piglet played... I'm going to just say he played the crap out of that right there. That was awesome. The auto attack reset onto elimination, the Q off to the left side, hitting Altec on both of them. Because it doesn't look like he's going to go for it, and it doesn't look like it would actually hit. But he goes for it, and it works out. And this is going to give them a decent advantage on this bottom side of the map. Here comes Moon as well, trekking his way through the forest. He's going to be able to pick up the Krugs. But that's going to be that bottom turret just for TLA after all of that. Really well played there.
Yeah. And this is why Piglet, not a fan of those Gangplank types, because he would have won that 2v2, and then Gangplank just clears the minion wave.
Yep. And then sometimes Shen comes down there and just ruins your day. But because they have a pressure matchup on the Shen, it's not as easy for him to just jump into these fights. He always has to be conscious of what this Gnar is doing. And Contracts walks up, finds the ward, and he's going to clear it out, but see what TLA is able to do with this.
Moon roaming towards the mid lane. There goes the Hemoplague onto Golden Glue. He's in the front, though. High is going to deal a lot of damage to him, and Golden Glue mispositions. That's going to be the kill for Piglet as he collapses. First blood in the game. Golden Glue caught by the arrow. Finally will drop to Contracts. No safe place for that snake.
And it looks like the ultimate from Balls came through as well, but it was interrupted via the kill. So Elimination not able to get out of that one, blows his Ignite, but Golden Glue still had Flash, I believe, as well. So it was kind of strange that he goes down there, but it was a really hectic fight. Watch that again. Moon jumps in, sees High out of position, hits him over to the side, and then they swap targets onto Elimination. He gets the Shen ultimate, goes down, and no stun on the Golden Glue just yet. And yeah, he's still has his flash available. It's going to be a flash of contracts just to pick him up with the end of the line. And interestingly played there from both teams, because they went for an aggressive play, but it looked like High was saying, yeah, go for me, I'll get Shen ultied, and then I'll be able to turn it around. But they go on Elimination. Speaking of Elimination.
Whoa, Solo.
Yeah, it's just the damage that Gnar does in this matchup early on. Because he does magic damage with his W, the percent HP really hurts Shen, and he loves to prioritize armor, but you don't want to build a Spectre's Cowl against Gnar. It just seems useless because his auto attacks will just do it. So his mixed damage palette really helps him out here. And their winning lanes actually award them 2 turrets.
2 turrets to 0 as Team Liquid Academy picked themselves a very strong composition early on. In fact, you could consider that 3 winning lanes as Golden Glue opened up a pretty large CS lead over High in the mid lane.
Yeah, I definitely consider it 2 winning lanes. I think the bottom lane is the one that holds off and stalls, because you could flat just lose this lane off of the Braum and the Ashe making a play. Like if there's an Ashe arrow onto the Soraka level 6, any of these types of things come out, you can get the chain stun down and really ruin this lane. But they weren't able to actually keep their pressure up early on and had it turned around, because, I mean, there's that whole trinity of, we'll talk about it in a second.
Ooh, they've got contracts. Silence taking some big damage. Moon actually goes in, but High's trying to collapse. Moon may have bitten off a bit too much more than he can chew, but Piglet secures the kill. They continue to chase forward, and Cloud9 are split on both sides. Balls can't get in, doesn't have the stand united. He's looking for the shield, but cannot find it as Golden Glue chase Cloud9 Challenger down and pick up 3 kills, possibly 4 as they're looking for Balls.
Yeah, Balls. He's going to have to run away from this. This might be that mid turret and the Infernal Drake, at least pressure on this wave. And we'll see how they allocate resources. It looks like 2 go to the side of the Infernal, and then everybody else down to the mid. Get this outer turret. Get yourself this gold. Altec respawns. No arrow available. No global pressure. That, yeah, really well played there from TLA, and also the follow-up afterwards. I've not seen that recall. Did not know he makes the snowman.
Yeah.
It's brutal. Still. Moon jumps in, gets Contracts, and then Contracts is really out of this fight, and Piglet comes from behind. It's like, where's the Sipper? Why is he there? And then Balls TP's in, but he can't really find a good angle into this fight. Shen isn't the same type of flanker that he was before, because in a team fight, you really want to be able to Spirit's Refuge your carries and make sure they don't get blown up like Contracts did. But when you're flanking, you do lose a little bit of that part of your kit, and it becomes very selfish to use the W. Because at that point, it's like I taunt across them, I Q back to me, and then I have to W, but that's only for myself. So as soon as that's done, they're able to go on to your carries. Look at this, they're continually fighting TLA.
They're looking for yet another fight. Solo's looking for the big slam, gets 3. Elimination in the front, falls. Balls running for his life. He too will drop as Piglet and Moon chase onto Altec. Exhaust, a double kill for Piglet. Stud survives as well, a triple kill for Piglet as High is going to be burned down, and ace for Team Liquid Academy.
And they get 5 kills there in TLA. Double Infernal Drake. The next Drake is Infernal as well. So when that one spawns with this type of lead, 7,000 gold, 17 minutes in, TLA, you expect them to be able to pick up that one, and that might be the final nail in the coffin, because they're just opening up this map now. And Cloud9 Challengers seem to just not be able to keep pace.
Yeah, 4 turrets to 0. This series showing us an imitation of what happened last time these 2 teams played 6 weeks ago, when game number 1 went to C9C, game 2 to Team Liquid Academy. Here's that fight again, though.
Yeah, and Piglet on this Sipper just looks very different this game, because his front line with Solo having another tank seems to make all the difference. Giving him that cover, giving him the safety of a Soraka, able to walk up, and Solo just plays very well on this Gnar, very aggressive, and you can see he was willing to sacrifice his life for that play and willing to take the risk for it, and that's what you like to see out of a good Gnar player, is that they're a team player and they understand they might die off of the play, but if they can get a 3-4 man ultimate and take the pressure off their team, then they're doing their job in that team fight.
Yeah, huge play from Solo in the top lane over the course of that fight. Now, even in CS, but by passive gold on the map, that brings him to 1,200 gold ahead of Balls. Taking a look at the damage graph, Contracts actually did a pretty enormous amount, but Piglet getting some big ricochets and splitting up. Wow, Cloud9 Challenger.
I only did 266. That's pretty much like doing a Sanguine Pool or even just a Q or two. I would even say just one. But I feel as though Piglet, he's able to perform in these fights with the low-range Sivir because he has another tank.
Team Liquid Academy now invade into Cloud9 Challenger's blue side jungle. Starting to contest some vision. Ping's now going down on Rift Herald. It's only got 25 seconds left, but they should be able to clear it out just fine as long as they hit it in the eye. There they go.
Give it over to Solo as well. Give him another edge in this matchup. Be able to bully out Balls a little bit harder.
That glimpse of the Void buff. As we get towards the 20-minute mark, Team Liquid Academy in very dominant control of this game. Winning lanes, looking to win game.
And it's not always a strategy that works in Challenger, but it's because it's not the only strategy they have or the only part of the strategy. Because some people will just say, I'm a better player than you, I'll win that way by playing through lane. But they're still playing as a well-coordinated team here. And I think that's what's really winning it now for TLA is because when they engage, they're all on the same page. And speaking of engaging, I like this buy here from Stunt. I thought we were going to see more of Soraka and more of this in general. Having the Talisman of Ascension completed because it now has armor on it. It's got 45 armor. It's got the Point Runner passive, which is the Zrop passive. When you're running towards turrets, you get 20% more movement speed. So Soraka not only gets movement speed when she's running away from you, if there happens to be a turret there, it's almost impossible.
Going in, looking for Altec. He flashes and escapes with his life. Triple dash forward, and Cloud9 Challenger were able to keep themselves safe. Even teleport used and completed by Solo in the attempt to pressure down this bottom tier 2 turret, but Golden Glue still putting on the weight in the mid lane.
Yeah, and High actually used Ghost to get there, just to get there a little bit faster, and so now the rotation to the mid lane here from TLA might net them this turret without much.
Oh, they need to attack it one more time.
As a reaction.
Oh, 31 hit points, down to 20 hit points left on that turret. There goes the minions. Meanwhile, Team Liquid Academy are able to take that bottom tier 2 turret, so now demonstrating, hey, not only can we beat you in lane, we can also pull you around the map more effectively than you can respond. Now, Infernal Drake's up in 40 seconds, and Team Liquid Academy are getting a big buy to prepare for it.
Exactly. They backed so that they can purchase. You can see Executioner's calling for Piglet, and then these items almost towards the Trinity Force here for Moon. A lot of times we won't see a Trinity Force second on Hecarim in competitive just because it's so expensive as a jungler, but he's so far ahead. They're 10k gold up, and it just looks like a ridiculous lead here for TLA. And I'm surprised they're even on this side of the map. I feel like you just ward up Baron, and then you do Infernal to get that third one, and then you can go for that top side of the map. Just ward this up and make sure it's safe in the meantime.
Looking to finally clear out that mid-tier 2 High, forced to be the attendant to that to make sure the minions don't collapse onto that turret and take it down, still at those 20 hit points. Meanwhile, Balls in the bottom lane, pressures a wave to prepare for an eventual side pressure. But Team Liquid Academy, they're going to race forward in the mid lane on the hunt. Solo is caught, but Cloud9 Challenger might be the ones who are caught. The arrow still catches Solo, but that's not the target that they want. They continue to chase forward. Balls is chased down and dropped. Moon on a killing spree. Golden Glue over the wall gets the kill along with a house from Team Liquid Academy Solo. That's 3 members dead, and they immediately turn onto the Baron.
Oh boy, Contracts is going to have to play his absolute heart out here.
Well, he's got a 1v1 Piglet first, and with the help of that Soraka, he will not succeed. Baron secured on top of 4 kills. It's 13-1, 23 minutes in.
Yep, game just ended up snowballing off of the winning lanes that TLA had, and then the bottom lane even joined in on it. So I think that we're just seeing the result of that strategy come to fruition here. And Solo, do you see how long he lasts in multiple damage dealers of the team? Look at how long Balls lasts. He actually TP's in. I believe he was a little bit low when he joined the fight. So he already came in at a bit of a disadvantage here. Ooh, and that's another fight that you got to be able to shake off.
Well, might be a little bit difficult as 24 minutes into the game, 3 Infernal Drakes Baron buff, and a 13,000 gold lead, 6 turrets to 0. Team Liquid Academy are shutting Cloud9 Challenger out of this game too.
Yeah, as soon as they get a lead, I talked about it, both of these teams are good enough that they're going to look great in whatever game they're winning, but they're going to look pretty poor because the other team, when they're losing, because the other team is just so good at closing the game out. And we're seeing their TLA is just kind of saying, okay, you beat us in, 30 some odd minutes. Let's try to go for sub 30 here and turn up the heat on the series and put a flame underneath Cloud9 Challenger and say it's not going to be that easy.
Yeah, trying to set the pace over the course of this series. Team Liquid Academy running at Cloud9 Challenger full speed.
Yeah, and just a small correction from that previous fight. When Balls TP'd in, he actually had full HP. He just took a Hecarim E to the face, and it did like 800 damage to him. And you can see here, the engagement goes off.
Ooh, arrow gets tossed and missed. High! So much damage! But Team Liquid Academy don't care about the kills. They care about the Nexus racing forward and scaring Cloud9 Challenger back. They take a second inhibitor with that Baron buff, and they've still got 2 minutes on it.
Yep, and they have a lot of time to just abuse this buff, use all of that extra damage that they have from these Infernals, too. And the top side is the only side remaining with turrets on it from Cloud9 Challenger.
This is a very fast game from Team Liquid Academy. And they are looking so dominant. Cloud9 Challenger, they've got a lot of time to sit and think, all right, game number 1, things went well for us. Game 2, not so much. What do we change up? How do we get back to where we were? They're going to have to start looking ahead towards that 3rd match over the course of this series and not let this loss weigh in on them.
Yeah, and I feel like Hai as a player, even when you're down 15K, he'll still keep the team in it. He'll still keep the team positive. Having actually experienced that before. And we'll see, they're going to try to look for a play here, Cloud9 Challenger.
Ooh, they try to rush in. Hai is ignited. There's burning down, and he gets charged upon by Team Liquid Academy. 3 kills. Make that 4. Make that 5. An ace for Team Liquid Academy. They drop the 3rd Nexus. All they need is minions, but they don't even decide to wait for them as they rush onto the Nexus turrets themselves. We're going at game 3 as Team Liquid Academy take game 2 over Cloud9 Challenger.
And we talked about the previous win from Cloud9 Challenger being convincing or dominating. This win from TLA is dominant from start to finish there. 26 minutes and 30 seconds to even up the series.
Oh my goodness.
Very dominant there from TLA.
Yeah.
Drafted for the laning phase, performed really well all throughout it. The only death in the game was Golden Glue. 1 time. That's it.
Honestly, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but Cloud9 Challenger got slaughtered over the course of that game. Losing lanes, consistent pressure, and the fact that they just could not keep up.
Yeah, they couldn't keep up, and I think a lot of that was just the ultimates of these champions and the fact that it's more pick right now because you have an Ashe and then you have a Shen. You need to wait until like 2-3 items for the Vladimir and the Ashe to really contribute to these team fights, but they got choked out of that because they just lost every lane. They had it spill over, and I feel like TLA played it incredibly well from the get-go. They found advantages, and then they just kept making that advantage affect another lane, and then they all grouped up and had fights that Cloud9 Challenger just couldn't win.
Yeah, it certainly was difficult, but we've gone from a best of 5 to a best of 3. We're going to toss it over to the analyst standing by to walk us through that commanding win.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Team Liquid Academy equalizing the series here in Game 2. Yeah. I want to talk about exactly what Zyrene mentioned there, the fact that they got to these fights that they just couldn't win, on the side of Cloud9 at least. And I kind of want to get there through Champion Select first. Let's assess the changes that these teams made coming in, the types of comps that they crafted, but then how they would interact later in the game.
Well, I really like this game because it punished Cloud9's really, frankly, just cocky draft, because you show Shen, counterpick Gnar. You show Vlad, counterpick Cassio. And you just go with all these really early lanes, and then you combo it with a jungler that offers 0 pressure early on. And the really smart picks from TLA, we like their first draft. We like the second one even more. I really like the Soraka Sivir lane. It's so obnoxious to play against. Push, push, push all day, and that's when the game broke free. Take the tier 1 bottom, and then eventually with that gold lead, that pressure advantage, they're able to just take a much more commanding stance for all the fights that happened.
Right, and C9C, like with their own picks, they pick Ashe into Sivir, which I think is actually a pretty bad matchup for Ashe. Like, it's pretty easy to spell shit all the tools. There's nothing really tricky you get to do. And so, you know, because you trade back and forth in draft, you have an equal opportunity chance to counterpick, and C9C comes in that with counterpicking themselves. So it is 3 losing lanes, when normally you can actually get around that by drafting smarter.
Or lane swap.
So,
right.
Well, yeah, that was exactly what I was going to say. So you took the words out of my mouth, but I was going to say, yeah, well, given the draft, what was Cloud9's source of recourse here? Fine, we accidentally chose losing matchups. Hopefully it wasn't accidental, but we accidentally chose losing matchups. What do we do now? Lane swap would be the answer. They don't do that. They're punished for it. They get pushed in constantly by all 3 of the lanes. They're now down in gold. They lose pressure because of the turrets going down. But could they have chosen not to fight, or is that just not an option because of the fact that you've got sieges? They have tools to start fights.
Well, they just fell so far behind from the laning phase that at some point you have to actually choose to take a battle somewhere. And the composition that TLA had, while not only did it win lane, it actually has so many ways of actually winning fights because Cloud9's comp, short range. You got Graves, you have Vlad, you have Shen, has to get in there really deep. You have Soraka and Cassiopeia. So difficult to try to dive, especially with very little CC. You only have Braum and Ashe, and Ashe is quite easy to avoid the arrow, as well as the Shen, who doesn't have a target to go in, as we saw in the previous game, who at least has the Gragas. So while the composition wasn't really the best laning, it also wasn't the best in the 5v5 scenario.
All right, so Freak, given all of this, Cloud9 kind of got a little screwed by the RNG of the Dragons. I know a lot of players, they see an Infernal, they go, well, that's something we got to contest, because they're seeing kind of raw combat stats in that bonus AP and AD. They opt for a fight in 15 minutes near the Dragon, 3 for 0, going over to Team Liquid Academy. Again, I mean, how much of this is, you know, how do we set up to avoid this? What is the situation in which Cloud9 actually has a winnable game here based on the draft that they chose?
I mean, you actually go for trades. Like, you talked about lane swap in the very early game, and a level 1 lane swap is actually kind of a blind guess. But later on in the game, when you know things like Drakes are spawning, you just play the other side of the map. Like, you continually trade objectives. And yes, you know, Infernal Drakes are really nice, but Infernal Drakes are best when you have a gold lead. But if you're trading a Drake for a turret, okay, yes, obviously you have the laning phase advantage, but like the turret's actually 100 gold, and you can actually bridge that gold gap by just simply trading a turret for the Drake and doing this every single time and just, look, yes, we know Drake's going to be up, but you know, you could play around the map such that your dual lane's up there and you don't let them make teleport plays, and you know, you eventually kind of get in these situations where if they commit to the Drake, well, you can tower dive them. And you can actually constantly split up the map in a more late game scenario.
So the cool thing about that fight actually was that you saw how impactful winning that bot lane was to the fight, because it started out as kind of just random picks here and there, but the first kill came out from that surprise flank Sivir, you know, the unseen boomerang, the deadliest, and because Sivir was able to get to the fight faster, not just from her ultimate, but because the wave is already pushed to the tier 2, Ashe has to take a much worse path to respond to the fight. She's much slower as a champion, and just getting to the fight as a 5v4 is going to be so much better in pretty much any composition possible. So that just shows how impactful it is, taking that first turret through no pressure whatsoever. When that happens in any game, pretty much in any lane, it usually spells disaster.
That's the last time I ever want to hear the words flanking and Sivir used together as a thing. Never be a flanking Sivir. That sounds awful.
Hey, he's a world champion.
All right, if you're Piglet, you can do it. All right, I want to fast forward 17 minutes into the game. Team Liquid's getting an ace in the top lane. So yet again, we're finding a fight here where, as you mentioned, Freak, maybe Cloud9 should be looking to position opposite side of the map and just be trading advantages at this point in the game.
That's just a sick gnarlty as well. Like, and that's the thing, right? When you have more reliable engage tools, when you have a Hecarim and a Mega Gnar bar full and a Sivir, just these situations are just more common and more fortuitous and more reliable for Liquid Academy.
I was going to say, on the side of Cloud9, it's unavoidable at a certain point. Right. You're going to be in a fight.
Well, they were looking for that in the first place, but the thing is, that's just not how you play Shen. And in these 2 games, I'm kind of disappointed with the way that Cloud9 is trying to go about this pick. The whole point of Shen is to outnumber somebody in the other side of the map. Yep. You do not want to bring the Shen to the plays don't happen around Shen. You're supposed to go to the other side. So when you put Shen versus the team fight prowess of Gnar, you're going to lose every single time. And we see that happen time and time again. So really disappointed with the Shen use from Cloud9 here.
Yeah, and the thing is, this is actually doubling down on the same power because Gnar, 3/4 of the time, can't be a tank. Like, literally, Paul's like, just track his bar. When Mega Gnar turns off, like, great, we have a minute now before he can turn Mega again. Let's make the play then.
Right.
You actually have time. It's a telegraphed bar telling you, oh, we have time to make this play where we know we can't get crunched on. Let's go. And turns out that fight is on TLA's terms when Mega Gnar is just turning big. Like, that is literally perfect for Liquid Academy, and that's the fight C9 gave them.
So C9 drafts not living up to par just yet, as well as in this game. Their decision-making around the team compositions and the early leads that Team Liquid were able to establish, not quite there. We're going to step away while the teams regroup and prepare for Game 3 of this final between Cloud9 Challenger and Team Liquid Academy. Stay with us.
I gave the speech.
Wait, what was it? Lemon said beat him up.
Yeah, beat him up.
Was that? I mean, I think it worked.
Piglet secures the kill. They continue to chase forward, and Cloud9 are split on both sides. Balls can't get in. Doesn't have the stand united. He's looking for the shield, but cannot find it.
They're gonna get rooted. I'm on front line.
Hey, Vlad's ahead of me. Vlad is ahead of me. Careful, Vlad. Careful, Vlad. Careful, Vlad. Back up, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up. We can play. We can play. Turn on Vlad. Careful, Vlad. Right here, right here. Come on, Vlad.
Balls is chased down and dropped. Moon on a killing spree. Golden Glue over the wall. Gets the kill. High is ignited. There's burning down, and he gets charged upon by Team Liquid Academy. 3 kills. Team Liquid Academy take Game 2 over Cloud9 Challenger.